Hi there. We're in Creed or Chaos by Dorothy Sayers, still in the chapter Why Work. In nothing has the church so lost her hold on reality as in her failure to understand and respect the secular vocation. She has allowed work and religion to become separate departments, and is astonished to find that, as a result, the secular work of the world is turned to purely selfish and destructive ends, and that the greater part of the world's intelligent workers have become irreligious, or at least uninterested in religion. But is it astonishing? How can anyone remain interested in a religion which seems to have no concern with 9/10 of his life? The church's approach to an intelligent carpenter is usually confined to exhorting him not to be drunk and disorderly in his leisure hours, and to come to church on Sundays. What the church should be telling him is this: that the very first demand that his religion makes upon him is that he should make good tables. Church by all means, and decent forms of amusement certainly, but what use is all that if in the very center of his life and occupation he's insulting God with bad carpentry? No crooked table legs or ill-fitting drawers ever, I dare swear, came out of the carpenter's shop at Nazareth. Nor, if they did, could anyone believe that they were made by the same hand that made heaven and earth. No piety in the worker will compensate for work that is not true to itself, for any work that is untrue to its own technique is a living lie. Yet, in our own buildings, in our own ecclesiastical art and music, in her hymns and prayers, in her sermons and in her little books of devotion, the church will tolerate or permit a pious intention to excuse work so ugly, so pretentious, so tawdry and twaddling, so insincere and insipid, so bad as to shock and horrify any decent draftsman. And why? Simply because she has lost all sense of the fact that the living and eternal truth is expressed in work only so far as that work is true in itself, to the standards of its own technique. She has forgotten that the secular vocation is sacred, forgotten that a building must be good architecture before it can become a good church, that a painting must be well painted before it can be a good sacred picture, that work must be good work before it can call itself God's work. Let the church remember this, that every maker and worker is called to serve God in his profession or trade, not outside it. The apostles complained rightly when they said it was not meet that they should leave the word of God and serve tables. Their vocation was to preach the word. But the person whose vocation it is to prepare the meals beautifully might with equal justice protest. It is not meet for us to leave the service of our tables to preach the word. The official church wastes time and energy, and moreover commits sacrilege in demanding that secular workers should neglect their proper vocation in order to do Christian work, by which she means ecclesiastical work. The only Christian work is good work, well done. Let the church see to it that the workers are Christian people and do their work well as to God. Then all the work will be Christian work, whether it is church embroidery or sewage farming. As Jacques Maritain says, if you want to produce Christian work, be a Christian and try to make a work of beauty into which you have put your heart. Do not adopt a Christian pose. He is right, and let the church remember that the beauty of the work will be judged by its own and not by ecclesiastical standards. Let me give you an illustration of what I mean. When my play, The Zeal of Thy House, was produced in London, a dear old pious lady was much struck by the beauty of the 4 great archangels who stood throughout the play in their heavy gold robes, 11 feet high from wingtip to sandal tip. She asked with great innocence whether I selected the actors who played the angels for excellence of their moral character. I replied that the angels were selected, to begin with, not by me, but by the producer, who had the technical qualifications for selecting suitable actors, for that was part of his vocation, and that he selected, in the first place, young men who were 6 feet tall, so that they would match properly together. Secondly, angels had to be of good physique, so as to be able to stand stiff on the stage for 2.5 hours. carrying the weight of their wings and costumes without wobbling or fidgeting or fainting. Thirdly, they must be able to speak verse well in an agreeable voice and audibly. Fourthly, they must be reasonably good actors. When all these technical conditions were fulfilled, we might come to the moral qualities, of which the first would be the ability to arrive on the stage punctually and in a sober condition, since the curtain must go up on time, and a drunken angel would be indecorous. After that, and only after that, one might take character into consideration, but that, provided his behavior was not so scandalous as to cause dissension among the company, the right kind of actor with no morals would give a far more reverent and seemly performance than a saintly actor with the wrong technical qualifications. The worst religious films I ever saw were produced by a company which chose its staff exclusively for their piety. Bad photography, bad acting, and bad dialogue produced a result so grotesquely irreverent that the pictures could not have been shown in churches without bringing Christianity into contempt. God is not served by technical incompetence, and incompetence and untruth always result when the secular vocation is treated as a thing alien to religion. And conversely, when you find a man who is a Christian praising God by the excellence of his work, do not distract him and take him away from his proper vocation to address religious meetings and open church bazaars. Let him serve God in the way to which God has called him. If you take him away from that, he will exhaust himself in an alien technique and lose his capacity to do his dedicated work. It is your business, you churchmen, to get what good you can from observing his work, not to take him away from it so that he may do ecclesiastical work for you. But if you have any power, see that he is free to do his own work as well as it may be done. He's not there to serve you. He's there to serve God by serving his work. Next time, Sayers concludes her chapter, Why Work? The Christian Meaning of Work. I wanted to put a link to a video we did on Ephesians 4. Do we recognize God's gifts in men?